Japan is the third largest economy in the world by nominal GDP. In 2019, it reached an outstanding value of around 5 billion of current US dollars. It has been growing at an average rate of 0.83% since 2016. Japan's main exports are cars and machines, but we can also find iron and steel and rubber and articles therefore. For imports, their main ones are mineral fuels and electrical machinery. From Colombia, we can find coffee and trees. For competitiveness, Japan is in the ninth place of 137 countries in the global competitiveness rank with a score of 5.5. It has shown East Asia and Pacific pillars. If we compare openness to trade, Japan is relatively more closer than other OECD countries. In 2018, Colombia exported 474.064 thousand US dollars. It represents 1.13% of Colombia exportations output. In 2018, Japan was the sixth country where it was imported the most, reaching 2.52% of the total of importations of Colombia. As for Japan, Japan is the fourth biggest importer and exporter in the world. Exports to Colombia represent only 0.16% of its total exports. It is the 46th place where Japan exports the most, and in 2019, just 0.09% of Japan imports came from Colombia. As for tariffs, the most protective sector in Japan are the agri-food sector, which contain animal products, dairy products, fruit, vegetables, plants, coffee, tea, cereals, and preparations, ranging from an average of 101.0 in dairy products, which is the highest, to 66.0 in cereal and preparations, and 9.7 in fruits, vegetables, and plants. As we can see, comparing to Colombia, Colombia is a more protective country. All of their tariffs are higher than Japan. Now for Colombia, we can see that the highest average tariff we can find is in the dairy products with 136.7. Then it's oilseeds, fats, and oils with 131.6. Later is cereals and preparations with 107.8, and last is sugars and confectionery with 106.8. As for companies who will support an FTA because they will see a lot of benefits on it because they are the companies who export the most are in the sector of petroleum, Ecopetrol and Rumbo Limitada. For coffee, we found Federación Nacional de Cafeteros and Carcafé Limitada. For bituminous coal, we found again Rumbo Limitada and Carbones de Cerrejón Limitada. Then for light oils and preparations, we found Organización Terpel S.A. y Refinería de Cartagena. Then for ferronickel products, we found Cerrematoso S.A. For medicaments consisting of mixed or unmixed products for therapeutic or prophylactic purpose, we found Laboratorios Baxter S.A. y Procap S.A. For waste, scrap, and copper, we found CI Metals La Unión Limitada and Comercializadora Internacional Atlantic Metals S.A. And finally, the fresh cut carnations and buds. Then we found Colibri Flowers S.A. and CI Flores de Aposentos Limitada. Now, for companies who will be against an FTA because they will not get much benefit and actually their sales will decrease. For frozen boneless meat of bovine animals, we found Red Cárnicas S.A.S. y Alimentos Cárnicos S.A. For motors, cars, and other motor vehicles, we found Renault, Sociedad de Fabricantes Automotores and Embajada de Estados Unidos de América. And also for motors and motor cars and other motor vehicles, we find General Motors Colmotores and Automotores Toyota Colombia. Then again, for another motor car and other motor vehicles, we found Motors Manufacturing Colombia and Toyota Tsusho de Colombia. For palm oils and its fractions, we found Tequemanda SAS and Fábricas de Grasa y Productos Químicos Limitada. Then for maize corn flour, we find Alimentos Polar Colombiana and Jardinería del Valle. Lastly, crude palm oil, we found Biocosta and Azebaima. And finally, for palm kernel Avasuo oil, we found Biocosta and Indrutrade Colombia Sociedad de Comercialización Internacional. For medium oils and preparations, we found Refinería de Cartagena and Ecopetrol. And for beauty or makeup preparations, we found Belstar and Johnson & Johnson de Colombia S.A. Now, Colombia is currently under negotiation of an FTA and an EPA with Japan. On September 25 of 2012, Colombia announced that it will negotiate an economic partnership agreement with Japan in short term. Now, Japan exports to Colombia are mainly industrial goods, such as automobiles and steel productions, while Japan-bound Colombian exports are mainly agricultural items, including coffee and flowers. As we can see in the mentioned before, Tokyo aims to eliminate the 35% tariff Bogota levies on imported Japanese automobiles. Now, we are going to see what are going to be the top 10 trade potentials that we can get benefit from. The first one is the petroleum, the second one is coffee, the third one is bituminous coal. Then we found light oils and preparations, ferronickel, copper, medications consistent of mixture or unmixtured products for therapeutic or prophylactic purpose. Then copper ores and concentrates, and at 8th place, waste and scrap of copper. We found fresh cut carnations and buds of kinds suitable for bouquets or for ornament purpose and motor cars. Now we have a product that we can find as well in threats and potentials. Later on, we will discuss what we can do with this product that we can negotiate in the NFTA. Now we are going to see the top 10 threats. These are the ones that Colombia exports as well as Japan, and we have a very sensitive sector inside that will suffer if we start importing this from Japan. First, we found frozen boneless meat of bovine animals. Then we found motor cars, again motor cars, and again motor cars, vehicles. In the 5th place, we found maize corn flour, and in the 6th place, we found crude palm oil. In the 7th place, we again found oil, but in this time is palm oil and its fractions, whether or not refined. In the 8th place, we found palm kernel and babasu oil, and in the 9th, we found again oil, with medium oils and preparations of petroleum and bituminous minerals. Finally, we found one that is not common to hear, that is beauty or makeup preparations and preparations for the care of skin. Now for the conclusions. As a summary for the information given before, we can see that the potential trade products represent around 80% of what Colombia exports to Japan. This is very beneficial for the companies that remaining the FTA because they will gain more and it will increase Colombia's GDP. As for the item that it's both a threat and a potential, with this one that is motor and motor vehicles parts, we recommend that accept the FTA and give the sector a subsidy. Now, for other recommendations, there is that Colombia really focus on an EPA rather than an FTA because Japan is one of the biggest investors in the world, and Colombia is a very stable country of Latin America and it's very attractive for other countries.